is Alma and welcome to my book journey. Today I have a fun video today, and I've been waiting all month to film this because this is the birthday tag that Taylor did earlier this year because she had her birthday. And I thought, well, heck, I'm gonna do that tag when my birthday month comes, and April is my birthday month. And so I just had my birthday this past week and had a fun time with my family. They took me out to dinner and ate a lot, and I even got to wear a funny hat while people at the restaurant sang to me. I mean, that is like a tradition with my family. My husband especially loves to take me out to dinner, and then he tells everybody, okay, it's her birthday, make sure everybody comes and sings to her, and just kind of like, you know, to embarrass me a little bit, but I have fun with it. In fact, one year, we were living in Utah at the time, and my oldest daughter, she was living in Kentucky, and for my birthday, my husband took us out to dinner, and she called the restaurant from Kentucky because she found out where we were having dinner. She called them and told them that I was there having dinner with my family and that it was my birthday and to go and sing to me. And they put the most ridiculous, because it was like a seafood place that we went out to dinner, and they put this ridiculous fish hat on my head. I have a picture of it somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but it was something. But anyway, the point of this whole video is to do this birthday tag. And so I have, let's see, how many questions do we have for this tag? We have 7 questions. And then at the end of this tag, I have a birthday haul, because guess what everybody got me for my birthday? Yes, they got me books. So exciting. So let's go ahead and start it off and do these questions, and hopefully not make this video too terribly long. So the first question says birthday cake, a book with a plot that seems cliche but you adore it anyway. And I really had a hard time with this one because honestly, I'm sorry, it's really warm in my home right now. I had to stop and think about this one because I haven't read a whole lot of books yet. And trying to think of one that had like a cliche. So the only one I could think of is this book right here. So this is, and the cliche I'm thinking of is like a young girl that's like new in town, and nobody knows her, and then of course the guy that everybody thinks is the hunk or the good-looking guy is of course attracted to this new girl that's kind of plain Jane kind of thing. So, and I read this book for the first time last year and I loved it. I'm sorry I'm gonna say it. I actually love this book. So fun to read it. So this is the birthday cake one. And let me know down below if you've read this book, and like read it like when it first came out years ago, or if you're like me and just read it last year. So it's a YA book, Stephanie Meyer, Twilight, if anybody doesn't know, but I think most people know this book. So that's birthday cake. Question number 2 is party guest, your most anticipated book release for this year. And I kind of shared this on my previous video, but I'm going to share it again. It's Gabriel Meyer's The Timeless series. She's got 2 books coming out this year, and I'll put them up here again. And I can't wait. I've been waiting for that one ever since I finished book 2 and loved it. So that was an easy choice on that question. Question number 3 is party guest, or no, birthday presents, a book that surprised you with how much you loved it. And so this one was last year, a book I read last year, and it's called Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And I don't own it. I wish I did own it, but maybe I'll pick it up one of these days. But anyway, I can't remember why exactly. I guess I heard people talk about it. Oh no, I know why. I loved the movie The Martian, with, and I always forget this actor's name, Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Anyway, I really love that movie. That's one of those movies where I can watch over and over again. I love sci-fi movies. But I love that movie. I love the whole concept of him getting stuck on Mars and how he handles it. And so when I heard about this book, and I realized that it was the same author that wrote The Martian. So I thought, hey, give it a try, because I really liked the movie The Martian. Maybe I'll like this book that he writes. And when I also, another reason was I was going through my library shelves, and I saw it. It was there, and I almost didn't get it, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did get it, but I almost didn't get it because it was pretty chunky. It was a chunky book, and so I thought, oh well, I'll just take it. But I tell you what, it was one of those books that I read so fast, even though it was a big chunky book, because you just want to keep reading because you need to know what's going to happen to this character. And the premise of the book is a man at the very beginning, he wakes up and he doesn't know who he is, or first of all, he doesn't know where he's at, and then he doesn't know who he is. He has amnesia. And then when he wakes up and looks at his surroundings, he realizes he's on a ship. And then even worse, he is on a spaceship in outer space somewhere. And that's where the story begins. And it's just amazing. If you haven't read that book, pick it up. It is really good. It's a secular book. It's a science fiction book. But there's not any, I think there is a little bit of language. I think The Martian had a lot more in it, because I ended up reading that book too. But this one wasn't bad. And even though it's like technical as far as scientific, you understand what he's saying, and it's just so good. So, but it surprised me that I enjoyed it that much, that it became one of my best reads of the year. And it was just top-notch book. Loved it. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 4 is a happy birthday song, and it says, a book that certainly deserves all the hype it got. And so for that one, I do own this book. And I kept hearing, it's kind of dusty, I kept hearing a lot about this book. Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. And I kept hearing about it, and I'm trying to remember. Let's look, because I'm curious to see. It's not one of her new books. Yeah, it's been out for a while, 2015. So I had heard about it and how wonderful and everything it was. And then I saw it at my library sale, and I picked this up for $1. And I was so excited because it's brand new, beautiful cover. And I brought it home. And up on my shelf it went, and it sat there for a long time. I think because I bought it at the beginning of the year, maybe. I can't remember, but or last year. But I read this last year, but it sat, and I just never was motivated to pick it up. And I ended up picking it up in November. Oh, right, I bought it at the beginning of the year, and then I picked it up in November to read for Historathon, like reading historical fictions in the month of November. And I love this so much. I thought, why did I leave this up on my shelf as long as I did? I could have read it a long time ago and enjoyed it. It doesn't matter. But it was so good. This one revolves around a story of 2 sisters that are going through World War II in France. And their 2 lives are so different. They're, of course, siblings are different anyway. But not only are they different, but they find themselves in different parts of France and doing different things and dealing with the war in different ways. And so it's a beautiful story. I loved it. I just bawled my eyes out reading this book. The ending was really good. And so this one, definitely worth the hype for me anyway. Definitely worth the hype. Okay, next question is happy music. a book with some very beautiful and truly memorable quotes. And so I'm reading that right now. I'm in the middle. I'm on chapter 16 of Anne of Green Gables. And I think everything this young girl says is a memorable quote. She is so sweet and so imaginative, and the words that come out of her head, you know, the thoughts that she has are just great. So I just have a few that I've loved so far. The first one I thought was cute was that she says, she says, which would you rather be if you had the choice? Divinely beautiful, or dazzling clever, or angelically good? Which one would you pick? So I thought that was a cute little, and the one thing about Anne, she's like, she never stops talking. So she's always got her, whatever's on her mind, she is saying it. This one, and she's very dramatic too. Very dramatic. This one, she says, I'm in the depths of despair. And she's like, can you eat when you are in the depths of despair? She's in the depths of despair. And then one I just heard right now. She says, I am so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers. And I love that too, because you know, fall usually is like a favorite season for a lot of people. It's just beautiful. The trees change, the leaves on the trees change and everything. So that's just a few. Like I said, pretty much anything she says is a memorable quote. So I'm really enjoying this one. Haven't finished it yet though, but that is the quote, the answer for that prompt, that question. Okay, next is number 6, Getting Older, a book that you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate more if you read it as a more mature reader. And so I have 2 of those because it's by the same author, because these are the ones that I from my childhood, I just adored. And that's Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. And then I loved this one too, Stuart Little. I think Stuart Little was my favorite though. Love this book. But I have not read them and since I was in school, since I was young. I mean, I've seen the movies, of course, the cartoons they've done of this one, and then of course movies they've done of Stuart Little, but I haven't reread the books. So I thought when I saw this, I said, I've got to reread these and see how I like them. And this one has a special memory to me because when I was in 3rd grade, second grade maybe, I had already read this book. And it was one of my favorites. And we had to go, they changed our boundaries in our school area. So I had to change schools because they were changing our boundaries of where we lived. And so I went to this new school, of course, and they needed to know where to put us in placement in my class. Like our teacher had like specific reading groups, and so she was like testing me to see, okay, which group am I going to be in? And guess what? The questions were from this book. And I'm like, I already knew the book. I already knew all the answers because I had already read it. And like the one I have in my mind was, the question was, what does the word salutations mean? You know, it's a big word for little kids back then, I guess. And it's like, yeah, I know definitely know what that means, because that's, you know, that's how Charlotte would say hello to Wilbur, salutations. I remember that. Isn't that weird? The things that you remember from childhood that stick in your mind, and something that you did just like 15 minutes ago, you can't remember. But anyway, these are the 2 books that I have from childhood that I do want to read again. I really do. And to see if I still enjoy them. That's a good one. Okay. Then, oh, this is the last one. 7 is Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. And so that one, I definitely have that one. I actually have a lot of copies of that book, and that's the Bible. And so that the Bible is a book that I read. I read for encouragement, for teaching, study, and just to be really blessed and taught. And so during times that I've had, you know, when you have really hard times, you know, loss of family members, hard times in just in life in general, being able to read the Bible to get comfort from the Lord is, you know, something that I've done often, and most people do. And I have one of my favorite verses is in Psalm 27, verse 14. It says, "Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord." And that is something I always have to remind myself, because I am one of those people that when bad things happen, I just, you know, I get anxious, get nervous, get upset, and I just need to wait on the Lord for what he's going to do and how he's going to work in that situation in my life, and just to be strong and to be courageous. And that's another thing. Growing up, I was always fearful of everything, and so knowing that he's on my side and he's there with me always, it's one of my favorite verses. So those are the questions for the birthday tag. And so I am, since like I said, it was my birthday just recently, I got a lot of good books from my family, and because they know, you know, I'm reading a lot these days, and they blessed me with some good books. So let's see. Let me show you what I got. My daughter, my oldest daughter, picked this one up for me. Isn't that pretty? This one is Positively Penelope by Pepper Basham. And this is a kind of like a rom-com. It's Christian fiction rom-com. And it's a part 2 in her, I don't know if it has a series name, but the first one is Authentically Izzy was the first one. And so I'm looking forward to reading this. Been wanting to read, I haven't read a Pepper Basham book yet, so I'm excited about reading that one. And then this one, she got me 2 books, and so she got me this book, and she read this one, so she's like, I can't wait till you read it so we can talk about it. And this one is called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Love that cover. And this is a fantasy book. It's not Christian, it's a secular book. And this is about a woman that, if I remember right, she, because it doesn't really hardly say anything on the back, is somebody that, for some reason, I can't remember what happens to her, but people, when she meets somebody, shortly after, people forget who she is. So people are not remembering who she is, and that's why it's called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And this one is another one that's been highly, just like The Nightingale, is talked about a lot, that it's really good. So I'm excited about reading this one. Okay, and then my son, I kind of sent him a little thing saying, hey, you know, an idea. If you're thinking about getting me some books, this is a good one to get me. So this one, I'm so excited. And I think I'm probably going to try to read this one. Ooh, I'm making my camera shake. I want to read this one next month, because I think Taylor has read this. And I think she mentioned that this would count for one of the prompts for the Southern Charm Readathon. So I'm probably going to slip this one in. And this is The Recorder by Kathy McCrub. And this cover is so beautiful. And I love the size of this book too. It's a little larger than most books, but I don't mind. I like the big size. So there's that one. And then he got me, and Taylor also said, if you read this one, kind of make sure you have book 2 handy. And so I have book 2. And this one is called Aberration, another beautiful cover. So now I have both of them. I'm so excited. So yeah, excited about those. My kids did a good job picking out books for me. They really did. And then, it was funny, I got a text from my sister, and I looked at the text and it was a picture, and I'll put it up here. And I'm like, wait, is that our door? And then she had her little message said, happy birthday. And I'm like, there's something at the door. So Kenny went over to the door, and there was a package. And she sent me, my sweet sister, sent me a couple books too. So this first one is called Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Godin. And I've been wanting this book for a long time, ever since Chantel from Chantel Reads All Day, she mentioned this book in one of her videos, and it just sounded so intriguing. It's kind of like an alternate history of during World War II. So things are different. It's an alternate history, and it just sounds amazing. Let me just read. Let's see what it says here. The year is 1956, and the Axis powers of the Third Reich and Imperial Japan rule. To commemorate their great victory, they host the Axis Tour, an annual motorcycle race across their conjoined continents. The prize, an audience with the highly reclusive Adolf Hitler at the Victor's Ball in Tokyo. Yael, which is probably this girl, a former death camp prisoner, has witnessed too much suffering, and the 5 wolves tattooed on her arm always remind her of the loved ones she lost. The resistance has given Yael, I have to figure out how she pronounces that name, one go. She has one go. Win the race and kill Hitler with the power to skin shift. So there's a little bit of sci-fi in here as well. Yael, or fantasy, Yael must complete her mission by impersonating last year's only female racer, Adele Wolf. But Yael also grows closer to the other competitors. Can she be as ruthless as she needs to be to avoid discovery and stay true to her mission? Now, this is the first time I read the back of that book. Interesting. So we have historical fiction and a fantasy kind of together. Isn't that cool? So thank you, Sonia, for that book. And then she also picked up this book for me. Oh, and this one sounds really good too. This one is called, this is part of a series. It's the Day to Remember series. And this one's called When the Waters Come by Candace Sue Patterson. And these are brand new. And these, I think there's 3 books. And they're by 3 different authors, I believe, too. And they all have to deal with real disasters, kind of like natural disasters that happen. And one is about a fire. One of them is about a shipwreck, I believe. And then this one is about flooding that happened on May 31st in 1889 in Johnston, Pennsylvania. And so I'm really excited. I had wanted to read these books as well. It's just, I love historical fiction, and especially when they're based on a true event that happened. So excited about this. Thank you so much, Sonia, for those 2 books. And I think that's it. Yep, I think that's it. That is it. Those are the books that I got for my birthday. I'm so excited about that. And for the birthday tag, thank you for hanging out with me today and listening to these. If you've read any of these books, let me know. And, let me know if you enjoyed them. I know a lot of people have read the Pepper Basham's books and also Recorder. I don't know about the other ones, so you have to let me know, especially the last 2 that I mentioned. Thank you again for watching, and come back soon. I'm hoping to get my TBR ready for May. I'm still trying to work that out. There's so many books. There's so many books. Now I have these that are added to my want to read list. And then I'm wrapping up several books this April. I'm wrapping up, finishing, we only have so many days left in April, and I have quite a few that I want to finish reading. And then I'm going to be working on what books I'm going to read for the Southern Charm Readathon. So I'm getting my TBR, and hopefully I'll have that out probably Monday. I think that's my goal, to get my TBR together and film it, and then have it all for you on Monday. So you all have a blessed day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.